Hi everyone, my name is Christy Trail. I'm the Executive Director of Pontchartrain Conservancy. You may know our organization as Save Our Lake or Lake Pontchartrain Basin Foundation, but we are now Pontchartrain Conservancy, one and the same organization. Here today to talk to you a little bit about an ordinance that's being proposed tonight on November 2nd. We got here by wanting to improve all the waters that drain into the lake. By working with homeowners and the parish, we can do what the federal law cannot do. The Clean Water Act cannot compel homeowners to make improvements in the operations of these systems. They're deemed as non-point source, even though they would be point sources if these were installed at a business. So as you can see and may have seen in other presentations, 2/3 of St. Tammany Parish utilizes on-site wastewater treatment systems. And we have a program where we do inspections of these systems. We provide assistance to homeowners. We collect a lot of data on these systems, ultimately for the improvement of waterways and a reduction in non-point source pollution. You can see here a photograph of one of our staff helping a homeowner with their particular system. So why is this important? Waters are impaired. Again, as you may have seen in some previous presentations, some waterways are limited, and if a waterway is deemed impaired by a state or federal agency, that does limit development and economic improvement in the area, because no permits can then be issued on that particular waterway for additional discharge. Thus, if a new business is being proposed and needs to discharge treated wastewater to that waterway, if there's an impairment, there's a possibility no permit could be issued. Thus, the facility or business would not be able to operate. Also, you may have seen a presentation by Dr. Caluette about mosquito development. So it's important we want to keep these waterways clean to minimize the growth of mosquitoes. And also, just as you can see by the image here, sometimes it's an unsightly waterway. So you can see a little graphic here of the waterway with a video playing. So home systems within St. Tammany Parish, most of what we see throughout the parish are ATUs, or aerated treatment units. That's the most common type of home sewage systems that we see along the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain. But in our inspections, we see a lot of those systems that function quite poorly. So we have some pictures here that are demonstrating some things we've seen here in St. Tammany just from our visual inspections of particular homes. And a homeowner may think that their system is functioning properly because the toilet flushes, as we can see here on this particular side, but the reality is, going out and inspecting the actual system, it may or may not be functioning properly. We have heard from EPA that across the country, 10 to 20% of systems may not be functioning properly, and that's across the country. But in St. Tammany Parish, we see actually a lot higher percentage of systems that are not functioning properly. And why is that? Variety of different causes. Could be that a heavy vehicle drove over the system and caused some damage that may or may not be visible to the particular homeowner, trees or shrubs that grow into the system, solids that have built out and maintenance hasn't been performed, perhaps there's an electrical fault, the broken aerator or broken diaphragm, the tank has settled just due to subsidence in the yard if the ground has sank. Ant piles are another thing that we typically see sometimes growing in systems and thus allowing the system to not function properly. A clogged diffuser, a broken or disconnected air line, and then for septic system, those do not have an aerator, but they also require a different type of maintenance. So with our home inspection programs, we go around to ATUs, we collect information on the size, the type, the make, and the condition of each particular system. We work really closely with the parish as well as the mosquito abatement district on this. And when our unit is reported as non-functioning, our inspector notes which components have failed and need to be repaired. A re-inspection is then typically conducted 30 days later. We are a nonprofit. We are not an enforcement agency. We do all of this in service to the homeowner to try to help them get their systems functioning properly. We provide information about the functionality of the system to the homeowner, and we also provide them information about financial assistance, which typically the parish has some resources to help with financial assistance if one qualifies for that. So looking at a map of the areas where we have done some of our home inspections, we worked around Bayou Liberty in the Ozone Woods neighborhood, around Ponchatoula Creek, and the Abita River, as well as the Bogafalaya. These are some areas that we have worked in, also Bayou Lacombe throughout the parish, where we have done inspections of particular neighborhoods draining into those waterways. And these successes are measurable. So you can see a statistical chart here of one particular component that we sampled for, biological oxygen demand, before when we did our first round of inspections, and then 30 days later, after we had a chance to talk with the homeowner about ways to get their systems functioning properly again, the results we saw after that were remarkable. In Bayou Liberty, we saw wastewater markers of pollution, including BOD, which is an oxygen-demanding substance. And you can see this on sites Bayou Liberty 4 and Bayou Liberty 5, but you can also smell those improvements. The overpowering odor is gone, and the mosquito fish return to the cleaner water after the program. So again, just in working with homeowners on their particular systems and getting them functioning properly, we have seen remarkable improvements in the quality of the water where these things are discharging. Our experience in St. Tammany identifies that home ATU systems have a high failure rate. We've observed some neighborhood failure rates with 50% failure just in our first pass inspection. For nearly 4,000 homes, we've seen a 1 in 2 failure rate through our experience in working with the parish. Knowledge and data gaps in installed operation and performance prevent a significant public health concern. So again, you can see some of the failure rates that we've seen, sometimes up into the 60 percentile range. But success is not static. Our program is grant-based, and we need new funding sources to reach new areas. An area with a program can backslide if it's not continuously inspected and maintained. For example, around the Abita River, we performed over 1,300 initial home inspections and 1,800 follow-ups with our re-inspections, and when we went back, there was a 50% failure rate even after that. Namely, there were 100 plus inspections that we performed after we were allowed to resume inspections after COVID. These homes had previously passed, but after the COVID shutdown, nearly a third of them fell into a state of disrepair. Because residents were staying home all day, there was more water usage at the house. Over that 8-month inspection hiatus during the COVID-19 pandemic, we had a high failure rate of systems that initially had passed earlier in the program. But when our inspections resumed, we started going through, checking out the homes, and again, educating homeowners. So what are some takeaways of this presentation? We are supportive of the parish's efforts to require an on-site wastewater system inspection with the change in the utilities, but we recognize this is not enough. Homeowners in densely populated areas do not always understand their treatment system. With people moving in and out of these areas, there will be a loss of information over time. We're supportive of the parish's effort to continue improvement in areas that utilize on-site wastewater systems. I thank you for your time and watching this presentation. I hope you learned a little something about your particular system. Thank you.